Video number 2 on my favorite knife of all time. Back to Reeve. This is the Umnumzaan monkey edge version. Now, this was a grail of mine. As soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted it. Took me a while to track one down though. I got one. It was the Tonto. I wanted the drop point, so sold the Tonto. Ended up with the drop point. I don't think there's a better drop point blade out there. I think the harpoon on this is just absolutely wicked. This is my everyday knife. This is in my pocket 90% of the time. It just goes everywhere with me. Throw a lynch clip on there. Check out the hide backspacer. I've had it for a while now. It doesn't really look like it though. It doesn't show a whole lot of wear. There's not a whole lot wrong with it. I do use it though. It's certainly not a safe queen by any means. Oops. But this is a keeper. This is the one knife I probably will not sell. I say that now, and tomorrow I'll probably sell it. No, but like I said, this beautiful, beautiful titanium. I know you get the people who say Reeve makes the best knife out there, and then you have the other people who say they're behind the times. Oh, he invented the frame lock, but that's about it. The tolerances on this knife are unlike most in the EDC world these days. Everybody always is like, oh, what about the Rosie? I can't even think of another one. The Rosie is one that people are seemingly obsessed with now. I've had one. Awesome. I've had one. Doesn't do anything for me. People don't like the fact that these aren't drop shutty, but that's the whole point. It's a smooth deployment, solid lockup, solid as you can get. It's fantastic. Titanium Magna Cut blade. This I put a nice edge on. I know paper cut tests don't really actually mean much, but I was able to stand up paper and just write down it. Now, one thing that I was unaware of before I got this was that the monkey edge version, I don't know if it's because of the extra milling on the scale, but it's actually lighter than the regular Zaan. A friend of mine picked this up and was like, oh my God, this is so much lighter. And I honestly thought he was kind of full of it. But then he threw it on his scale and this was a bit lighter and I wasn't able to tell. But maybe if I had them both in my hand at the same time. But again, you cannot beat this knife in my opinion. This is the boss, you know, has that name for a reason. They are hard to come by. You can pay anywhere from $800 to $1,200 for one of these, depending on the, you know, extras you get. A lot of people now, and here, I'm gonna say this, a lot of people switching out the stock hardware, switching out the thumb studs. Oh God, it's blasphemy, but a lot of people doing bearing mods to these. I am a purist. I'll throw a lynch clip on there, I'll throw a backspacer on there, but other than that, I completely stock is how I like them. They were just perfection, you know. I don't think you need to mess with perfection. I actually did have a few of these. I had a few of the regular versions that I changed out the pivot, changed out the backspacer screws. I had one that was fully done with the bearing mod, aftermarket studs, all of that stuff, and I got rid of it. This, in my opinion, is the best knife that I can own. I have had, and I don't say this lightly, I have had hundreds of knives. I used to run a small group on Facebook. We did a lot of raffles. So I have had my hands on almost anything you can think of. And I won't lie, first time I got a CRK, I was probably like everybody else. Said, oh my God, this action sucks. It sucks, it's hard to open. It's not, you know, it's not drop shut. I was used to, you know, a Chavez or something like that where you press the lock bar open and the guillotine blade almost takes off your finger. But I've come to love the action on a CRK. Like I said, that bank vault lockup, as they say, just, it gives you that thwack when it opens. That's the biggest issue I have with a lot of these access locks, or, you know, the RAM lock, whatever anybody wants to call it now, is there's no real detent. It doesn't give you a satisfying click when you open it. This, for me, like I said, I really do like Chavez knives. I used to have a bunch of the American-made 228s, but those things were like a brick in your pocket, you know? Great quality, just chunky as all hell. This, it's a big knife, you know, look. Plenty of room for a 4-finger grip. I usually wear double XL gloves. There's not much wrong with this knife in my opinion. And now I realized as I'm making this video, I'm pretty much gushing over this knife, but you like what you like, you know? There's probably plenty of people who are not fans of Chris Reeve knives. Me, like I said, I pretty much judge every other blade that I get by this, which is why most of them, in my opinion, fail. I get a knife, and if it doesn't give me that satisfying opening, I get rid of it pretty quickly. I don't know. Like I said, these are just what I want in a knife, and I enjoy the original. I think they call it a bead blast now. It used to be sand blasted. They do a glass blast, but I like the fact that this gives you a little more grip. It shows snails a little bit more, which, you know, people like the glass blast because it hides the snails. But in my opinion, when like a knife looks well used, it gives it character. Obviously, on the second hand, that's gonna affect its value. But for something that you don't plan on selling, it really makes it your own. I don't know. Comes with a lot of goodies. I got a whole bunch of stuff in here. It's gonna end up falling out. I don't even know how old this knife is. I forget. It's 2023. I know that the new ones come with a blue top, which is fancy, but I've still got pretty much everything. I've even got the original sticker in there. I've got the, you know, Jekyll to Hyde stuff. Got all of the wrenches and the lube, the original clip that came with it, some extra rubber bands that, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know were in there. And then I have the lanyard that comes on it. I pretty much take that off immediately, and then the wrenches. But the cloth is one of the best cloths out there. It's a large size. You know, a lot of people include cloths these days, but they're usually like just a small little microfiber smudge remover, whereas this is almost like a full-size hank. And this is actually another thing I like to judge off. When I'm buying hanks, I'm always like, oh, is it that nice microfiber, or is it like a crappy bandana feeling material? I just wanted to share with y'all my grail of a knife. I will be holding on to this one, but if you feel like leaving a comment, tell me what your favorite knife of all time is. if you've acquired it yet, if you're still hunting for it. Tell me if you do or if you don't like Chris Reeve knives. You know, I'm just starting out on this YouTube journey, so whatever gets some engagement, you know, I'm happy to reply. But if you made it this far, appreciate you. Can't end the video on that. I'm gonna end up having to tape this whole thing over because I can't deploy a freaking knife. All right, thanks.